Welcome to PromoKitchen's newest educational series, Meet Us in the Kitchen. The kitchen is where industry leaders and independent minds come together to whip up a feast of fresh ideas. The volunteers at PromoKitchen are thrilled to serve you a brand new educational series that's packed with relevant bite-sized insights and actionable strategies. Join other promo pioneers and watch these merch misfits spice up the conversation. This is happening. I cannot tell you how excited I am because words would fail me. I get to have the honor and the pleasure and I don't know what else, pick a favorite adjective, good times, to be hanging out with friends of mine who support PromoKitchen, who support me, who support our industry, who are awesome in every way. And I'm going to go top to bottom, starting with Kate Alavez, who is also a PromoKitchen chef, an amazing human, has cool titles like president of Promo Shop, things like that. And also Jodie Schillinger, like Linger, like not Ginger, J. Schill, EVP at Maple Ridge Farms. So glad you're here. And then the one and only, to complement the maleness of me, who is Kenny Ved. Kenny Ved, I don't even know what your title is, Director of All Badassery at Gold Star, something like that. Gold Star, whatever. Global Sales, is that it?
I'll take it. I'll take whatever you call me. I'll take it.
You're good as gold, my brother. And I'm so lucky that we got a chance to finally get our schedules together. Thank you for taking the time because this is another awesome episode of Meet Us in the Kitchen. And today we're in Kate's kitchen. Kate's got chips and salsa, maybe some guac, some bottles of wine, tequila,
That's
whatever
right.
you're into. Kate, thank you for hosting us.
I am so excited you're here. Probably some vegan tacos. I don't know if I can handle the tequila, but I am very excited to have my favorite friends here.
And vegan tacos rock. I'm all about it.
I'm into
Trust
it.
me. Yes, let's do this. Black
I will
beans.
say that Kate does have the industry's best pico de gallo.
Ooh, what? You've been holding out on me this whole time?
Real thing. That's a real thing.
It's a real
That
thing.
is a real thing.
Vibe.
And I know that Jodie would love that because it's almost like the food gift love mantra coming, just oozing through.
I know. I ate a little bit of lunch earlier, much earlier. Now I'm ready for a second with all this talk of great food.
Wow. We love being in the kitchen. And thank you, Kate, for kind of spurring this conversation. So imagine that we just showed up in your house. We're hanging out in your kitchen. Here we are. And then somebody said, oh my God, I read this amazing article or I heard this amazing podcast. And it was all about employee happiness, which is definitely an awesome topic.
Yeah, it's one of my passion projects here at Promo Shop, but really when I'm talking to anyone in the industry, and I could not think of anyone better than this collective of people to talk about what it means to create and generate and cultivate employee happiness. My biggest kind of takeaway is this big discussion about work-life balance. So I'd love to hear from our friends here in this kitchen setting. What do you think about work-life balance? What does that mean? What are some things that you love about it? What are some of your perspectives or takeaways?
I'll tackle this. I'll chop this up. Let me marinate some stuff to set the table for you. All right. Well, we call them fortunate misfortunes, pandemic. It taught us that work wasn't all the hustle that used to exist. And now that's a double-edged sword because Kate, you and I were in a session once and someone said, I don't answer my email after 4. And Kate's like, I do. And so do I. However, there is a harmony to the grind. I'm not going to call it a balance. I don't really believe in balance. I believe in harmony. That is new to the workforce since pandemic that I really appreciate. And I find the commonalities throughout different age and demographics of people, which I really value because it's not just one setting, so to speak. So I think as far as an employer, how does that work? That means more flexibility, understanding. It means more conversations. And through conversations, you're creating deeper value, not only in the people, but in the processes that you have. So work-life balance, work-life harmony. What do we do to try and help with that? Well, we're in the heat of our season, so we don't have much balance right now, except work. But I guess the balance comes for us that we created I'm not here to promote Maple Ridge like, oh, we're so fantastic and ahead of the curve. But we started with Fridays off back in pandemic. So Fridays off for a portion of the year. And we thought we were doing it like, oh gosh, we need to cut some expenses, save some money. How do we do this? How do we pay the employees? So we were able to do all of that the first year. And in surveying the team, finding out like they loved it so much because it added value. It freed up one day so that they could do maybe some of the tasks in their life to really allow themselves to penetrate into the good part of their life, that golden part of their life, that whether it's family, freedom, friends, and in turn made them more engaged at work. So that I think work-life harmony is extremely important now, and it just depends on how you define it and set the expectation.
I love that. I love that golden harmony idea
Brilliant.
that kind of weaves itself through. It's so
Yeah.
lovely to have a modern perspective on what it looks like.
Yeah.
How about you, Kenny?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I love that, Jody. It's this work life harmony, and your seasonality certainly impacts that. And I think from a business perspective, my question to you is that how did that impact the output? Right, one day not in the office. How did that impact you?
Now we have two moderators asking me questions. This is fantastic, Kenny. Kenny, I am the queen of asking questions back when someone asks me a question. So this will be fun. This is going to be fun because Kate's a great moderator and question asker as well. So it started in the off season, and what we found is that we worked more strategically to prepare for that one day off. And then as things picked up, it was okay, if you want to choose to work, you can work. So you might find some sales members that actually work a few Fridays, but not the majority of Fridays. And it's like from that beautiful winter season that Jay loves,
Oh,
and
yes.
from March through August that we're closed Fridays. So it is not during our peak of our season when we really need the output. We've got emergency contact information on social and on our phones, and customers have our cell phones if they need to connect with us, and we're there. So we don't shut off completely, which is why I call it a harmony.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah,
Seasonal harmony. I like it.
seasonal harmony. It sounds like a gift name.
It
It's
does.
like a candle.
I want to be a
Could be.
realtor. Do I have to move to come work for you? That sounds really fun.
Yeah.
So fun.
Well, and I mean, I guess Kenny, what Kate said, that's a modern view.
Yeah. So our modern view is a little different, a little unique. We're a global organization. As the pandemic kind of came about, we made a conscious decision to work remote only exclusively. So we closed our corporate offices in San Diego. I mean, we certainly had input from all of our team members, and it was overwhelmingly in favor of work from home, which was great at the beginning. People love the freedom, being with their families and all that great stuff. But it certainly came with a bunch of challenges, and the main one was culture. Is We don't have those collisions in the office place, either within your community of cubicles, or even the water cooler, the lunch dates, the happy hours. All of that kind of fell short, and then we kind of came into a position of, all right, what do we do? Great partners like Maple Ridge have great gifts that we can send out to our team members, and that was good, and that kind of had its legs, and people appreciate that, and we continued that, but the culture was still missing. So how do we create those collisions? And now we're trying to have communities and pockets in different parts of the globe where they're getting together on a quarterly basis and celebrating their successes and catching up. It's very nice to have the freedoms to work from home and be behind a screen, but the in-person connection is something that we have been tirelessly working on, and I think we're headed in the right direction. But it's really helped with recruiting, to be honest with you.
Oh, it's a huge recruiting piece.
People love, yeah, right. It is a new generation, a new
Yeah.
wave.
Yeah.
Maybe folks at my age, it was a bit of an adaptation, being on the road all the time. It's like, wait, now you're going to confine me into a room? That's tough. But
Right.
my adult children, they think that I'm crazy. Like, why do you have to do all this stuff? You clock in and clock out and do your job, and no one will bother you. That's a tough balance
Wait, your
for us.
kids think you're crazy, Kenny? Wait, what?
Poquito.
I think so. We are kind of right in between where both of your companies are. For us, I think the biggest takeaway in terms of balance was really identifying, I'm not giving people a prescription for satisfaction, right? My job is to be a better listener. And it took me a while to stop trying to be the expert in making sure everything was perfect. I don't know if you saw
Mhm.
that Martha Stewart documentary, but whoa. I came out of that era of everything needs to look perfect and be perfect all the time. And I had to have everything prescribed and ready. And I think what I've learned as the years kind of have trickled on and we've gone through the pandemic and, I was there for the housing crisis and we work with a lot of students. I have to be a really good listener. So our output for engagement is really based on employee contribution, right? And my job is to make sure I'm serving our team at least once a quarter because needs, hearts, minds, values shift, right? They shift with the economy, they shift with our, seasons, they shift with consumer values. And then create a space where we have a completely unique response to those, even if that means my team does a little more of a lift to get there. So now we have a fully hybrid calendar of engagement opportunities. Some are in person and we highlight them. For the people who are super extroverts, you want to get there, here are your in-person opportunities this quarter. Some of them are completely remote, and those have been as wacky as tequila tasting, where we ship boxes to people's houses. Crafts, we do lots of crafts. So some people are crocheters, some people aren't. That's not my jam, but the people love it, who do it, painting, all those good things. And then we have things that are professional development. We have pieces that are hybrid modules, but really making sure that none of these are my team's prescription or edict to everyone else. And they're really an invitation to share what is meaningful and high impact. And I think for me, it's been kind of an eye-opening experience because I am like, I'm a bit of a workaholic. And so I had to kind of learn to hear that differently. So I love hearing from both of you on that.
Kate, I want to ask a question, and I don't want to veer us too far off path, but we asked the question about work-life balance, work-life
Yeah.
harmony, and interestingly, both mine and Kenny's responses were really what we did in the building, so to speak.
Right.
So, are
Yeah.
you saying that some of these things that you're doing to create this harmony and balance, you're doing within the working day, within the working pay, within the working scales of what it looks like?
Yeah, 100%. So we leave people, that's a perfect question. And that was one of the things that was about how we create impact, right? So we might do a 1 o'clock session on a Tuesday that is a craft that runs for 1 hour, and people are paid for that hour to
Yeah.
participate and engage with their friends across the nation and into Canada. And that might be a box that you got at home, right? We have a fully flex workforce. Some people might be in the office when they get their box that's, like we've done a paint and sip, or we do something where someone just knit pumpkins. We just did chunky knit pumpkins. I don't have any artistic skills. So this was like the group of crafters. But we have this great photo
Yes,
of
you
all
do.
of them. Maybe I'll find it the next time
We'll
we're
get a
together.
keychain from you.
That's right. But it was a great way for everyone to connect wherever they were. So yeah, it is inside the workday. If there's going to be like a tequila tasting, we schedule that toward the end of the day. That's not great for productivity or.
So, how many times do you do that? Can you share, like, let's say a quarter? Is it like
Mhm.
once a quarter or once a month, once a year? What does that look like?
Yeah, so every quarter we publish a calendar in advance. Usually we have 3 on-site events that are full open house lunch engagement. We bring our suppliers in, we do all sorts of fun stuff in one of the regional offices. And then we do at least one craft or businessy activity a month, painting or whatever it might be. Sometimes it's a fitness class, a yoga thing or whatever.
Hmm.
And we do at least one professional development session. And during the last quarter of the year, we have a service program that carries us through. So we do adopt a family programs where everyone participates to contribute back.
That's so impressive.
Kate, I've got a question. Whoa, that's a lot and very very impressive. So, what's the adoption rate in person versus virtual in your community? Just a percentage. Don't need like a number, but just a percentage.
The number of people we get in our in-person events tends to be more of our extroverts, even though sometimes I have to ask my friends, hey, we would love to see you, even though you would rather be at home. I'm an introvert, so I get that. But we get a good percentage. I would say once a month, we probably get, of our 100-person team locally, we probably have 60 people locally and we get 40 in the office.
Okay.
It's not bad,
No, that's
right?
healthy. That's
Really
Yeah,
great.
that
good.
is a healthy response. And the virtual programs sell out. We actually do limited space because we have to get boxes shipped out and moderators and, sometimes a sommelier or whatever the case is. So those sell out every time. They sell out usually in the first 5 minutes.
So people are looking
People
to
are,
participate
they're
there.
looking for that.
Yeah, I
They're
like that.
they're always
And that's
booked. We always have a waiting list.
that's during your working day, once again, during your
Yeah.
working day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a little challenging for a supplier to just shut the company down for an hour or two, but it would be a nice luxury to have in the industry.
Oh, well, I should clarify. It's a limited release, so not everyone attends. We get 10 or 12 spots, so that's how we create the productivity,
Got
right?
it.
Like you get there and you do it because we can't shut, we want to be present for our clients. And
Sure.
Mhm.
so I think that has been a way where we keep it moving, but that's a good qualifying statement, right? Like we still need to process orders, so that would be super great.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
It was
interested in
a little passive, Kenny, but it was fabulous. And if everyone's paying attention to key language, this is what I love, like merch drop, limited release, exclusive spots, like
Exclusive,
great
yes.
language, great
Yes,
language.
that's hard. Well, you kicked it off with the harmony versus balance. So
That's right. That's right. It really sets the tone. So I want to know
Yeah.
from all of my buddies here in the kitchen, what are your communication tactics to kind of engage your teams, and what do you find is the best way to do that? Because all three of you are magical communicators and really make every person in your circle feel seen and heard. So how do you do that? That feels like confetti to me.
Oh,
confetti,
okay.
I
I'll kick
like
this
that.
one off. It's a challenge. Everyone wants to be communicated a certain way and they receive information a certain way. It can go as simple as a Teams message or an Instagram meme, right? It really depends on kind of that relationship you have with that team member and how they want to be communicated. There's various ways, but it's not limited. Like I kind of learned the people and communicate that way on how they want to receive it.
I agree with Kenny. I think you have to know the, I call it know the tribe, know the who is your team, and how do they want to be communicated to, and it's not easy at first. So you kind of have to have those expectations and that discussion first. So I love the fact that you brought up memes, Kenny, because there's a lot of times when I'm literally dropping DMs and somebody just saying, "Did you see this?" And then that I do that on purpose so that it sparks the conversation, and then there can be kind of this "hey, by the way" moment, and it's not really forced or planned. It has to be authentic.
Mhm.
But I think that it's knowing your team, knowing your players, and being a better communicator. And you started this all off by saying, Kate, being a better listener. So listen to those styles for how they prefer to be communicated and what works for them.
Well, Jay, you are the hero in this space because every time I receive an email from you, you can hear your tone and your joy radiating off of that email. And I think, oh,
Aw.
it's so nice,
Oh,
right?
you're
Like,
doing so great. Thank you.
it's so amazing. Jodie, you and I have talked about a little bit. I think you are absolutely the queen of creating conversation. I would love to be able to bottle that and capture how you do it. Tell me some of your tips or tricks for how to be a better networker, communicator.
Oh gosh, I'm sweating. Thank you.
It's getting hot in the kitchen.
I guess
Woo!
there are two different
Boiling.
things, right? Like networking is one, I guess it's all communication. Communication's a dance, right? It is a dance. It's a conversation. It's a flow back and forth. As you said, the art of communicating, the art of listening, they're just such a profound overlooked skill. And sometimes like the super hyper aggressive salesperson thinks they're so much better off than a listening style salesperson. So again, as Jay said, know your audience. Kenny said, you got to know the person. So, I mean, if you're talking about communication internally, how do you keep communication flowing internally with a team? It's probably a variety of different things, from quick catch up and connects to I work with my sister, and she's my neighbor. I really don't get to talk to her very much, and I miss her throughout the day so much that my heart could just explode sometimes. But we have coffee every morning. That is our time to communicate. We come in, do you want to get coffee? We go to the coffee maker, we get coffee, we talk, we ask about life, the day, and then we get back to work. Unless there's a work topic to cover during the day, it's not discussed. So I think, whether it's technology, again, as Kenny said, you've got Instagram, Facebook, Teams, which I don't do, but Molly does because she's the queen of processes. You've got quick meetings, communicate silently with eye contact through a meeting about you're watching someone to see how they respond to a situation because it's going to be a further conversation later on. You know how they want to be communicated to about that. So I think it's just being present, taking time to be mindful about creating space. You talked about this, Kate. I talk about it. I think we talk about it. It's not our job to know the answers, but it is definitely our job as leaders to create space for something to grow in that petri dish. So,
I mean, that's the magic right there. So, okay, I have a question then from someone who feels very tender-hearted. When I'm in a group, I feel very overwhelmed and tend to say things like, "Oh, I love sharks," and then walk away and try to find somewhere to hide. The three of you are I really, for anyone who's listening to this or anyone here that I've done that to, I'm very sorry. I tend to err on the side of like, I'm going to go right away, pivot to like something academic, business related, or some weird science factoid that no one wants. And then I panic and just leave. So how do I get better at this? The three of you are so good at meeting people and being so present, but also knowing how to connect with them without asking a weird question or saying something strange like, "Hey, I love genetic models. Can you tell me more?" Like, how do you ask these questions and not appear to be so scripted?
Oh, Kate, come on now.
Come on,
You
Kate.
are like, you're so cool. Why would you even feel like you're being judged because you like molecules?
I do ask, so I do prepare questions in advance for most events, but then I feel like I sound like, "Hello, how was your day today?" Right? So then I go back to molecules, but I just want to know how all three of you get that so seamlessly. You all feel so authentic and so heart driven without being kind of fake or scripted.
I think we're all authentic in our own way, and it goes back to the tribe and the community, right? It's we're all individuals, and we have space on this planet. Just be yourself. You don't have to be someone that you're not in front of anybody. So if molecules are your jam, then go be it, girlfriend. It's okay. But I think it just we're in a wonderful community of promo where, listen, we all want to help each other. I don't think that we judge each other in that way. I just feel like it's just be yourself and be authentic, and magic generally happens when those collisions happen.
I love your question, and I think that that is the essence of you, is that you are trying to be more vulnerable and more real and more in the moment, and your concerns are real. And I have felt that way, and there are going to be some that are like, nah, come on. It's like, yeah, I feel that way when I get together with the three of you sometimes and hear these types of high level conversations, and I'm like, damn, I got to level up. This is like, I can't bullshit my way through this. So I also think it's like, I heard recently, it's like, imagine that somebody said for like a sales kickoff that, comparing it to like a one and done. And that happens a lot. You have a sales kickoff, you have some kind of an important meeting. Everybody gets together and the information's conveyed. And then it's like, done, gone, out of sight, out of mind, boom, onto the emails, onto the next Zoom meeting, onto whatever. And they made the comparison of, it's like, imagine if that were true, like learning a language. Imagine you had to learn Spanish and you had a Spanish kickoff. And for the day, we sprinkled in some language and then said, okay, good luck. It's got to be something that you practice again and again and again. And I think how this is how I do it, Kate. I believe truly that there is this just amazing magic in everyone. And it's my job to find out, what is your secret sauce? What is Kate's little magic moment? And so I feel it's my job to figure that out. And then we have a conversation about it. And it's always awesome. It's never weird. And if you're into science and biology and molecules and NASA and whatever, I'm like, yeah, I'm for the trip. I'm like, buckle up, let's go. So.
How about you, Jodie?
I don't know. I have so many thoughts that come back to this place of creating space for everyone. Totally echoing what Kenny said, piggybacking off of what Jay said. I want to believe genuinely that like I am because of who you are and vice versa. And I'm curious. I'm very curious about you. I'm very curious about Jay or Kenny when I'm in conversation, very curious in a genuine way. And I think too often we're not taking time to really connect, even at a base level for a moment that can help you maybe find a home or a pod, or what did you call them, Kenny? I started writing down words like a pods of communities for other people. So I think there's just a connection. Like stay curious, stay curious in conversation, and I like creating some discomfort every day for myself.
Yes, I mean, I am a firm believer in that.
And I love whenever you talk about yourself this way. I think it's totally geeky, adorable. We've had this conversation several times, and I think it's so lovely and you're so brilliant, but yet you are so funny and down to earth and probably don't give yourself enough credit for it.
Amen. 100%
Yeah.
agree.
And
Amen.
that just goes to show us like we all have that space. I don't want to get into the imposter syndrome thing.
Right.
We probably all sit with that for a percentage of ourselves.
Well, I mean, just know that the three of you are very good at this, and so you give us a really beautiful view into kind of how to be comfortably a networker without making it that 1995 kind of scary, vibe when you're like, networking has to feel so fake, right? Sometimes I'm talking to college students, they're like, oh, my mom and dad do the networking thing, and it seems horribly fake, but the three of you are so, so good in this space. I mean, you can see why it creates employee happiness in your area. And I love PromoKitchen for this reason that you can say, I am completely myself and here are my vulnerabilities, and then just be silly about it and move on, but really talk about big business stuff at the same time. So I would love to hear kind of one takeaway that you have in general about employee happiness or creating balance, how you talk about that harmony or symphony. What is like the one thing that you would always want someone to know about you and your brand when you're talking about generating satisfaction or joy for your team?
Well, first I need to say, if you're ever with Jodie, she is curious and she's going to drill you with 1,000 questions. So just buckle up, prepare, sit down. And I mean that in a great way, because the first time we met in person, like for real, and just let it hang out, and all the conversation was, it went everywhere: art, camping, hiking, family, kids. And it was awesome. And so I
That
just
was a
wanted to
great
say that.
conversation.
It was
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah,
And I love that
that
about
was
all of us, is that we can seem to have a business conversation, but then not lose sight of the fact that, hey, there's a lot more to us than just a pen or a, branding moment, or, a brownie or whatever you're into. So I loved what you guys, I've written half a page of notes. I don't know if anybody else is doing this, but I
yeah,
mean,
I
Kenny,
typed.
you talked about culture and you brought up in-person connections and you talked about those collisions. I love that word. I've
Hmm.
heard that before. I think that's brilliant and genius. So I don't know if I have a great answer for you, Kate, but I think one thing I am concerned about is that that's not the trend. I don't think it is the trend. I think we're in a unique space that is less stressful overall. Let's be honest. I always say t-shirts isn't heart surgery. It's a t-shirt. It's a fun product. It's a fun moment. It's usually celebratory in nature. It's usually a recognition. It's usually something that's rewarding greatness, or it's got that surprise and delight gift element to it. And so that's so fun for me. So I've said forever, I'm the luckiest man alive because I'm on the island of misfit toys and people accept me here. And we get to have fun. We get to be creative. We can still be strategic. But if I'm trying to help this employee happiness vibe, um, I just think we're lucky because we're already a few steps ahead by the nature of what we do. And I think we need to just maybe remind ourselves of that. So I don't know if it's a trick or a hack or a shortcut, but I like to remind myself and our team, whether we're in PromoKitchen meetings, whether in board meetings, whether we're one-on-ones, just to say, it's okay. Hey, relax. We're good. We're okay. We got this. We're going to be just fine, kind of a
Such
thing.
good feedback.
Yeah, very very good, Jay. I mean, for me, I would say it begins with yourself, right? I think we have an amazing community of promo people that are very welcoming, but you have to have that confidence in yourself and really believe that what you're doing is making an impact and a greater good for your team and your community. So when you have that confidence, that energy just portrays and it just bleeds throughout. So just be happy and watch that love just spread. It's pretty simple.
Nice.
That's adorable. This could, there could be a whole nother talk on creating confidence. I mean,
Yes.
we all just talked about things that we're like, oh gosh, am I really good at that? But we are. So there's an opportunity to talk about confidence. I think it's an
Yeah.
overlooked opportunity that can be seen as something vain sometimes when it should be the threshold of what we bring forward. So, shoot, my takeaway. There's so many. I guess just remember that no man, woman is an island. No man is an island. Nothing is done alone. Yet it takes you to get alone with yourself to give forward to someone else.
Yeah.
And the more we create space for that for people to be
Yeah.
able to perform, prepare, pretend, do whatever it is they need to do to be imaginative and stay curious and create discomfort in a very healthy way, the more we can all grow.
I love it. This has been such a good opportunity for me to connect with people I really respect and enjoy and hear a little bit more about your perspective here. Thank you so much for joining me in the kitchen for
Yes.
this amazing session, and Jay for hosting.
Oh, I think you were the hostess. I think we are being treated to greatness right here, right now, through you and the willingness to share your time, your insights, your magic, who you are. So to all of you, to my friends, Jodie, Kenny, Kate, thank you so much. PromoKitchen is an opportunity, really, if you think about it. It's an opportunity to give, to serve, to connect. And so I feel very well fed today on all levels because I got to hang out with you guys for 30 minutes and talk about something that we often don't get to talk about. So cheers to all of you. Cheers to the mission at PromoKitchen. And I hope that everything we've said today, something we've said today will, connect and will spark, because I've already learned something from all three of you today. So I have grown in this space. How's that? Huh?
Same.
Looking
Same,
forward to
same.
Thank
seeing
you for
you in
having me.
Vegas, right?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
can I
It's
end
right
on
around
this?
the corner.
Can I end on this? I just want to. It dawned on me as we were getting started. All of us were together in San Diego at the ASI Power Summit, and all three of you were Power 50 people, peeps of power, and your organizations, and well deserved. So cheers to all three of you. Once again, it's just an amazing consistency for me. I seem to always hover in the high 50s. So I haven't quite cracked to number 50 yet, but I hope to learn from this session from the three of you. And someday, you got to have a goal. You got to have a little something, fight for, climb for. But jokes aside, kidding aside, to be able to have this conversation with three people that were there and that were involved and that were on the Power 50 list, whatever you think about that list, whether you think it's awesome or a joke, I think it's an indicator of greatness, and don't really care who's at the top or at the bottom. If you're there, I've got something to learn, and I learned from all three of you. So glad we did this. Harmony, culture, employee happiness, balance, not so balanced, especially when you're hanging out with me. Thank you again. So until we meet at any summit or at any expo, be good, be kind, and let's keep this conversation going. I think Jodie's onto something.
I love it. All right, I appreciate
everybody.
you. Thank you.
Peace. Thank you for having me.
Perfect. Now hang tight for just 1 or 2 minutes. We'll be done.
Yay.
You guys were fabulous.
Good
Wonderful.
stuff. Good stuff.
Yay.
You guys
thank
are so great. I love all of this language. Kate, I want to nickname you a really cute science term for molecule. Like a
Molecule.
really fun one.
Molecule.
Like a
I
little,
don't know
we
what
can
you
call
had
you
said, but
Adam.
just, some molecule stuff.
Let's call her Adam.
Adam, energy. Just that.
Energy.